The Silmarillion. Let's talk about it. You've probably heard of Lord of the Rings. After all, Tolkien is a renowned fantasy author who's had a huge impact on the fantasy genre. But have you heard of the Silmarillion, the unpublished lore behind Lord of the Rings? Well, you've probably heard about that too. After all, they did shoot a series that was loosely based on the Silmarillion. Unsurprisingly, it failed. But is the Silmarillion worth reading? Well, that's hard to say. The Silmarillion is a series of stories that weave together to make up the lore and the history of Middle-earth. Some of these stories are long and intricate. Some of them are a little bit shorter, but most of them play off each other, and they unwind to form a much larger story, overall that is. And these stories read very similar to the Norse myths that Tolkien loved so dearly. Not that that's a bad thing. Well, I guess if you don't like ancient myths and old texts, then maybe it is a bad thing for you. For me, I really liked it. And there are definitely some stories that I would have loved to see expanded upon, such as the tale of Luthen and Beren, or the creation stories. But this probably doesn't mean too much to you if you haven't read the Silmarillion. But my point is, there are some gems in this book. You'll also get to read a lot about some well-known characters, such as Glorfindel, Elrond, Galadriel, Sauron, just to name a few. So, if you're not a fan of this series, then you might struggle to get into this. Reading the Silmarillion is like reading the notes that an author made for their novel and world. It's just, well, in Tolkien's case, he made enough of them to put together a whole other book. Actually, probably a series worth. I haven't read all of the notes that he hasn't published. The Silmarillion was never written to be published. Tolkien never intended it to be published, and it wasn't published in his lifetime. So it really is simply just the notes that Tolkien made for his world and his story. So long story short, if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, you'll definitely enjoy this. I enjoyed it. If you're not a fan of the series or you haven't read The Lord of the Rings yet, well, you might not enjoy this as much. Maybe you will. I don't know. But I don't think you would get a kick out of it. You're going to get much more enjoyment if you go and read Lord of the Rings first. Now, I really have to say, even though I've been hyping this book up, there really are some downsides to it. There are parts that drag out and parts that really just aren't page-turning at all. People probably think that it's quite stereotypical of Tolkien to be very wordy and for his writing to drag on. Now, I disagree. I think there are modern authors who are much more wordy and waffle much more than Tolkien, but that's another video. Well, you've heard enough from me. If you want to check out some of my writing, there's a link tree in the description of this video where you can find my writing. You can also find my social media where I post reviews, similar to this, but it's more written rather than spoken. You can also find my Twitter, my Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Please like and follow. My goal is to be a published writer one day, and any kind of following does help out. So if you enjoyed this video, please follow me on social media, check out my writing, and subscribe. Thank you.